Hey, what's up, guys? Mike here from Art of Alpha. So I have a quick video for you today. This is a question I got from Mark, and he was asking me, how do you become more witty, or how can you have a conversation where you don't run out of things to say? So it's kind of like a combination of trying to get a little bit more witty and quick in conversation, and then also not running out of things to say, and leading the conversation to somewhere where it's more attractive for you. All right, so that's what I'm going to talk about. And it's a technique that I learned from a Boston dating coach that has been pretty much the staple of some of the basic foundation of what I've learned in as far as like self-improvement for conversations and dating. So it's kind of like just the backbone of some of the things I've learned. It's a really good starting point, and it's something I think it'll help you guys out a lot. So it's a technique called yes and no but. And all this means is the yes and, it means you agree with the statement. So whatever said, whatever kind of statement is presented to you, you agree. And then the key here is to add on to your own story, your own experience. And you want this story and experience to be high value, meaning that you want to show that you're like a leader, you have a passion, you have interest in things, you're masculine, anything that shows your attractive side. All right. So anything that's going to show that you're an attractive guy. And an example is, so if you're just talking as an example, I like to go to the beach, the yes and would be, yeah, I like to go to the beach too. I like getting up really early and then jogging around the beach before anyone else gets there. So you're agreeing with it, yeah, you like to go to the beach, and you add on something that shows that you're a cool guy. You could say, yeah, I like to get up early, go to the beach, and take out the boat and go cruise around. So that's kind of an open loop there too, because they might ask more questions about the boat. Oh, you have a boat, you live on the lake, etc. So that could be an open loop there. But that's a little bit more advanced. We'll get back to this for now. And the other side is the no but. This means that you disagree, but still add on to the statement something cool, high value, masculine, attractive that you do. The example again, the beach. The no but side of this would be like, no, I'm not the biggest fan of the beach, but I like flying over the beach whenever I take flight lessons. So that could be a high value statement. Now, instead of talking about the beach, you're talking about flight lessons, and you completely change the conversation. Maybe you don't really care about the beach, it's boring, but you can transition to flight lessons. Now you're going to be talking about that, something that's more interesting for you, and that'll help you show your attractive qualities. So this way, it doesn't kill the conversation. You don't like, yeah, I don't really like the beach. It could kill the conversation that way. If you get stuck into a topic you don't know anything about, or it's kind of going nowhere, you transition. So it gives you more things to talk about and shows your interesting side. And one of the things here too, as a guy, you want to have 3 stories. Okay, so you want to have at least 3 stories you can go to, kind of like a comedian that has his go-to jokes when he needs them. So you want to have an adventure story, an activity story, and an intimate story. A story that just allows you to get closer. So an example might be, how's your weekend? A typical question that someone might ask. And you could say you went to an awesome salsa dance club and that you were nervous at first and the instructor pulled you up on stage. You had a great time. So whatever your story might be. And now from here, with the activity story, you can say, have you ever done this? Have you ever been salsa dancing? Oh, you haven't? Well, what's your number? We can go next weekend. So activity stories, talking about things that you did, they're great for setting up dates. It doesn't matter what it is whatever you like to do. Maybe you went hiking, maybe you went fishing, maybe you took out the boat, whatever it is. If it's an activity story and you have a story behind it, you can then say, oh, have you done that? Or do you like doing that? Oh, you should come with me or we should do it. So that's the activity story works great for that. An adventure story works great for setting up other things. And an intimate story works for getting closer. Transitioning. So the point of the yes and no but is to be able to transition from a topic that doesn't benefit you. Say you're talking about school or just a boring subject. You know how it can get when you're out on a date or talking to someone. The subject can get boring and stay there. So instead of that, you transition to a more fun, playful area. So it also helps you to think quickly on your toes. You get more witty as you practice this stuff. I'll get to in a second. So another example, I went to the gym this morning. The no but would be, cool, I'm not really much of a gym person, but I like to go salsa dancing to stay in shape. And some of the moves can get pretty intense. Some of the flips and the spins that we do, we get intense. So you see how it doesn't kill the conversation, you transition. Now from here, you can open up in many different spots. If you're doing this in real life, you could say, oh, let me see your hand, and then you could spin it around, show her a salsa dance move. So you can get very detailed, but I'm just showing you the basics of how this works to work this into your conversation, the yes and no but, just so you can think about it. Another example, I like to go swimming. Could be just the topic or whatever you're talking about. I mean, normally there's going to be a longer sentence to this if you're talking to someone, but this just to give you an example of how it works. So I go swimming a lot. I like to take random road trips every weekend at different beaches. Sometimes I'll drive for hours to get to the beach. Now you go into your adventure story. Whatever your story, some adventure you went on, you can transition into that. So you're just agreeing, yeah, you like to go swimming, you like taking road trips to beaches. And this just a very basic example, all right? So if you're talking about you like to take road trips to beaches, well, you need to have your story more involved, like have your adventure story more detailed, more interesting. This is just an example of what I would say, but you could go into a lot more detail about a trip you took to the beach, and who knows what could have happened. You could have went surfing and something could have happened, or whatever. You'd have to have a story, an interesting story, and you can use it over and over. Like comedians use jokes, you can use those stories, your go-to stories, over and over. So another example, back to swimming. Yeah, was that swimming? So back to swimming again. I'm not the best swimmer. My talent's more on the dance floor. I've been taking salsa dance lessons. Now you go into your activity story from salsa dancing, or if you like golf, hiking, boating, whatever your activity is, then you could say, oh, you should come with me. Or, it just sets it up for the date we talked about. So basically the main point of this is the yes and no, but it's just transition in conversation. It keeps the conversation going. So whenever you feel like the conversation dying or you don't know where to take the conversation, you want to have your stories that you can go into that will open everything up, right? So eventually I might get around to more detail about this, but say if you're having an intimate, like you're trying to get closer to someone, you can talk about a story where maybe you had a massage. All right, so now you're saying, oh, I went on this random road trip and I actually stopped at this place and I got the weirdest massage ever. Let me show you what this girl was doing. So now, let me show you what the masseuse was doing. So now from there, you can kind of start touching the girl or show her this weird massage technique or something like that. So you have a story where you can get closer to her, or closer to the person you're trying to get closer to. And that's what the intimate story comes in. So you can see how these techniques work to transition to any story that you want, that you have. So that's an example of how I can get more involved here. So how to practice and how this can make you more witty. What you can do, and like what I used to do with my friend a lot of times, we'd be driving to a club or going out somewhere, and I would just say, hey, give me a word. And then from that word, you can transition to whatever story you have. So if he's like, oh, hot dog, you'd say, I don't really like hot dogs. I eat health food because I have more energy when I'm on the dance floor. So you should be able to have your stories, right? So maybe you have your story about the massage. You went to get a massage, and this woman was had this death grip where she was squeezing your shoulders. You didn't know whether you should tell her to stop or if you kind of liked it. She was really rough. Okay, so that just could be a quick little story about you went to get this massage and you said you wanted the rough version, and then actually it was so rough that you were sore for 2 weeks from this massage. All right, so that's just an example. So you could say whatever word someone gives you, you need to transition from that word into your massage story or whatever it is, whatever your story is. The activity story was salsa dancing, so you take that word, transition to salsa dancing. The yes and would be, yeah, hot dogs are my favorite. I like taking random road trips to different beaches every summer. I always have to stop and get junk food along the way. So you have the adventure story you transition to, the activity story you transition to, and you see how it can work like that. All right, last one here. Just sum this up for you guys. So pick a word again, say cook, right? So I enjoy cooking, especially making healthy dishes because it gives me more energy for salsa dancing. Again, you can see how you can take any word, use the yes and the no but, and transition to your story, whatever will make you look attractive, interesting. So that's how this works. No but, and I really have time to cook because I just started a new hobby, salsa dancing. I like learning new things, and that's my new obsession. So you can really do this for any word, and you can get witty, you can get quick, where you can figure out how to transition from any word, right? So you think of something you want to transition to, take a word and then transition it to. You'll get quicker on your feet, and your conversation will become better. All right, so that's my tip for today. It's Mike here, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I'll talk to you soon.